What's the worst reaction to losing you ever saw? In university, we played a game called diplomacy in between and after classes when we could. We had a little table set up in the common room and no one bothered with it. There's a lot of backstabbing and secret deals that go on. We had this one friend, Jamie, who got so mad at being double-crossed by a secret deal that he flipped the board and the table. He and his girlfriend left our friend group and dropped any classes that he had in common with anyone in our game group. We never saw him again despite knowing him since high school. Monopoly is known for ruining friendships, but diplomacy is known for starting intergenerational blood feuds. As someone who played exactly one game of diplomacy, I feel this. And cheating at Battleship can end with a peg to the eye. Can we discuss the days of discussion and planning behind each other's backs when your Risk game lasts a week? Me and my family play it and it takes weeks for us to finish and the tension is ever present. The teacher brought it in for the class to play in high school as part of history class. It caused a fist fight. Holy shit, were there any consequences for the teacher? No, the fight didn't occur as part of the class. After the teacher had finished using it, several of us decided to keep playing at lunchtime. Fortunately, the teacher wasn't there when punches were thrown. LMAO, I've said 1,000 times don't play diplomacy with people unless you're okay with not seeing them the same way again. It's a dangerous game. I'm only truly comfortable playing it with family because we laugh so much. I wouldn't play it with friends without having a chat about it beforehand. It's a great game, but people are crazy. I don't get why diplomacy has this reputation since many board games have backstabbing or double-crossing as an element within the game. But it's only diplomacy that gets talked about as friendship ruining. Risk can also get like this, but in my experience, diplomacy has a kind of spicy hate-inducing element to it lol. Other games also have other elements than backstabbing and betrayal. OMG, I played this with some friends from the debate team, including my debate partner and his girlfriend. I double-crossed her and she made him drop me as his partner. We had been doing well, too, bummer. Dang, reminds me of playing Junta, kind of similar to diplomacy, but more table talk and empty promises than secret agreements, with some friends. I was a dictator benevolent leader, it was the final round, and I needed one guy to support me against a coup the other three were staging. Promised him a fat share of my budget, would have been enough to put him in first place. We successfully held off the coup. Then I had him executed and took his money, which was exactly as much as I needed to win. His response was to laugh so hard he almost fell out of his chair and congratulated me on playing my first game of Junta exactly how it's meant to be played. We had some dad whose name I've long since forgotten lose his shit after a hockey game. This was one of those kids' games the parents got too invested in. It started when his son supposedly had a penalty called on him for high sticking plus checking, and supposedly this butterfly affected the entire game. Everybody was sick of this guy's antics after about 45 minutes, and one of the parents confronted him, and he stewed some more. At the end of the match, he was banging hard on the glass, and swearing every word that was unholy. Then he got into a fight with a few parents. Ended up with a bloody nose and was cuffed. I thought this was America. I am the Bat Dad. Hockey is my favorite sport and I played from when I was young through high school, but stuff like this is exactly why I would probably never go into coaching or reffing. People are crazy. I read a story a few years ago about how a lot of northern US high schools were simply banning all parents from hockey games because they were consistently so toxic. I don't doubt it. I'm in Minnesota and hockey is kind of our thing here. It's really disappointing for the kids when parents can't control themselves. They are there to have fun and play a game. Most times it's cause they think their kid is going to play in the NHL. I was an okay player, but I just loved the game and still do. Glad I had great and supportive parents who were not crazy. Same with football and baseball here in the South, I think to a slightly lesser extent than hockey. Dads are enrolling their 9-year-old kids in super competitive leagues and going as far as hiring professional hitting/pitching/quarterback coaches. It's usually the dads that peaked in high school. You can tell a lot of the kids hate it and just want to play baseball. I play tennis and in high school, we played a team and beat them. The coach called the cops on us after threatening our coach and had us escorted off the premises of the country club for beating them. We weren't even loitering. He just lost his mind on our coach and my coach was standing up for us. We were just trying to pack up and leave. Next thing you know, cops have arrived. This was a 50-plus-year-old man. Wow, that is horrible. I once joined a club, and about 2 years into lessons and playing, I entered the club tournament and beat probably the best player in straight sets. I'd never taken a set off him during my whole time there, and it was just a case of him not having his serve that day, and I played so far above my level that I was actually sorry for him afterward. A fluke. He refused to shake hands, and his dad threatened me as I walked to my car with violence. You'll never see it coming. The whole club basically took his side for whatever reason, a class thing I believe. I was from a blue-collar background and most everyone else was decidedly not. I was in my 20s and never trusted people or adults in authority the same way again. I was a total pacifist. My uncle was not. LOL. He confronted the father and let him know that he'd never see it coming either. End of story. I quit the club and the tournament and went back to the public courts where real fun can be had. People are wild about their sports. I'm 30 now and play in a league with our Parks and Rec and love it. For $65 per season, it can't be beat. Sure, I get some players that I play well above their level, but it's all for fun for 99% of us. Yes indeed. I am 66 and play to stay in shape and try to teach people the basics if they show interest in playing. You can be competitive and not be an asshole. LOL. You really can. I wish a lot of people at that tennis club long ago had learned that lesson. I enjoy playing at my level. Sometimes you get beat and sometimes you win. I was never Jimmy Connors and know it. LOL. Reading this thread got me unreasonably angry, mostly at how little consequences these sore losers actually face. Maybe it's the rage speaking, but I would without a doubt be in favor of instituting corporal punishment for people above 30 years old. Sure, never hit a child, but if a fully fledged adult behaves like you described, they deserve to get their shit kicked in. It's too late to actually change their behavior at that point. Might as well simply make them afraid of acting out again and achieve the same result. I've seen similar things, not with tennis, but with field hockey. Kid joins a club to play for fun, turns out they're pretty good at the sport, far better than anyone on their team, or anyone on the teams they're facing. Parents start thinking their kid has what it takes to turn professional, but when they finally go up against other kids who do have that kind of potential, they suddenly have to deal with the fact they were very much big fish in a small pond, and some of them do not handle that news well. This tracks for tennis, unfortunately. That's an awful way to act in front of minors. What the hell? Yeah, it was bad. Our coach always drilled into our heads, no matter how shitty someone treats us, we kill them with kindness. So being 14 to 18-year-old girls, we killed them with sarcastic kindness just to get under their skin. He grew a shitty little kingdom inside his head and then the loss threatened it, so he went nuclear. This dude who pitched in a game against my baseball team absolutely lost his mind when our slugger walked them off with a triple. It was a 16 division, he acted like a 5-year-old at best. The dude threw his glove at the ground and played into his poor catcher for making bad pitch calls. The coach had to separate them. The catcher was understandably upset by his pitcher's temper tantrum. My stepdad threw chili all over the kitchen and smashed the lid to the crockpot, then threw our Christmas tree off the deck. We had it sitting on our deck to get rid of it, because his football team lost a game. He was also drunk. The best part was my mom was pissed. She put up baby gates on both entryways to the kitchen to keep the dogs out. Then made him clean it all up, spotless, the next morning when he was hungover. It was all over the ceiling, walls, cabinets, countertops, and floor. Good on your mom for making him clean it. He did actually clean it, right? Oh yes, he did. We watched him do it. LMAO. My mom had even taken a picture. Sadly, it's been years and that picture is gone. He sounds like a jerk. But at least he was the kind of jerk who would listen when told to clean up his own mess. Yeah, not a great dude. But very true. Which team was it, LOL? The Redskins back when they were called that. It's been years, but I'm pretty positive that they were kind of a shitty team anyway. I have zero interest in football, so I don't entirely remember.